The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
So, Rangers' Europa League campaign is over after last night's 1-1 draw with the Polish side, Jagiellonia. 4 games for Derek McInnes, 3 defeats, 1 draw. Will the tide turn this weekend in the Premier Sports Cup and the League Cup against the holders, St Mirren? Meanwhile, Engels is undergoing a medical, probably around now, ahead of a £22 million move for the Belgian to West Ham United, and he could play against Burnley if all goes well on Sunday. Aiden McGeady is with us, and Barry Ferguson. Evening both.
Good evening, Paul.
How are we?
I'm very good, thank you.
I've been better, let's be honest.
It's a tale of two cities, isn't it? You both represent yourselves, but also both ends of the old firm. Barry, last night, everybody thought Rangers would go through, but it didn't happen. What's gone wrong?
I did myself, Paul, when I was heading into the game. But if I'm being brutally honest, over the two legs, the Polish side deserved to go through. I thought being at home last night, getting the early goal through the penalty, through Lon Shankland, it was okay in the first half, but then the second half, they just weren't at it, Paul. And in the end, Rangers deserved what they got, and that was dropping into the conference qualifiers.
But 1-0 up, good start. Lon Shankland getting his first goal. Did you think this is that the tide turns tonight?
Yeah, I thought they were going to put the pressure on them at that stage. But listen, they had a couple of half chances. As I said, it was okay, but Derek McInnes would expect a lot better. Then you get at half time, you're 1-0 up. You expect Rangers to come out in the second half and really go for them. But I thought the Polish side were the better side in the second half and deserved to get their equaliser. But if you look over the 2 games, Paul, I've got to be honest with you, they deserve to go through, which is hard to say.
Aiden?
Yeah, I agree with Barry. I do think over the 2 legs, Jagiellonia were they were the better team. They deserved the win. Last night, the game, obviously there was a lot made of the first leg. I think the second leg, going back to Ibrox, I was expecting more of a performance from Rangers, but I just felt that, obviously Derek McInnes changed formation into this 3-5-2, but quite clearly on you could see it wasn't working, because without Jagiellonia having to do too much with the ball, they were finding it quite simple to pass around Rangers' press and get through. It was 2-3 passes almost, and the chances that Jagiellonia had, they were 2-3 passes and they were almost through at Rangers' goal. So I think Rangers, the formation I think was wrong, and I do think that comes down to players as well. I don't think the players were at it in terms of the press, in terms of enthusiasm and energy. But yeah, another disappointing night for Rangers.
Enthusiasm, energy, the press. Barry, do you agree with what Aiden said?
Yeah, that's some of the things you certainly need to play at Rangers. And they lacked that last night, and that's the frustration that the manager has got to have. But again, I know the manager takes it on his shoulders, but the players have to take responsibility. You're playing at Rangers, you need to take the game to teams that come to Ibrox. And they did that in parts in the first half, but the second half, no, it was nowhere near it. They get the equaliser. And then they had, I think it was a Miovski header towards the end, but that was only real time that they really threatened the goal.
Here's Derek McInnes. We're going on the lines in a moment or two. We'll talk Celtic as well. Engels down. It looks as though he's going to be at West Ham United. And news about Alistair Johnson. It doesn't look as though he will go now during the window because of the injury. But Derek McInnes spoke about it. So disappointed.
No, great to watch my team kind of go from some good highs in the first half to being as poor as we were second half. And you have to say we didn't do enough. I know Bojan's got a chance with a header. I'd like to see the Ndiri challenge again as well when he was running through. To be honest, I thought it was a foul the other way and potentially a red card. But we huffed and puffed, and even at the death, even when you throw Fernandes up the pitch, we still don't make enough good decisions as to how we don't even play up to him. Beyond that is so we just lost all our composure, and I think we need to be honest. The club's built for Europa League and Champions League, and that's the intention to get there. But I'm not sure the team's quite ready for it at the minute. And it pains me to say that, to be honest. It does. We need to get more quality. We need to try and get more confidence into the team. But it wasn't the outcome that we wanted.
What would you say to him, Barry, if he asked you, You were in the dugout just over a year ago. What would you say to Derek?
Shouldn't he win games, Paul?
How's he going to do it?
Well, do you know what? I still think he's figuring out his best team. I still think there is a number of players that he wants to bring in, certainly in the forward areas, wide players. But I'm looking at the team. I think we need a real dominant central midfielder. Somebody who can grab the game by the scruff of the neck, calm it down when it needs calmed down, get it going when it needs to get going. So, look, I think the next 2.5 weeks left of the window, I think it's going to be absolute massive for Derek.
Is he going to get it right? On Monday night, you said he is the man for the job.
Yeah, look, I think you've got to wait till the window closes, see what the squad looks like then. I still believe there's going to be a number of players coming in, but also a number of players will be leaving. So that might open up a bit more money to bring more players in. But it's not been the ideal start. You can see he's clearly frustrated. The fans were getting frustrated last night, but I'm afraid that's just the way it is at Rangers. You're expected to win games of football straight away, even if there's a lot of new signings coming in through the door. And now you look at Sunday, Premier Sports Cup against St Mirren. It's a must win. They have to find a way. Paul, I don't care how they play. Whatever way they set up, they have to make sure they beat St Mirren.
Aidan, what's your sense of it for Derek McInnes? Is he going to win at Rangers? Is he going to turn this round?
Look, I think that has been the question. How much time do you give a manager? Look, managers don't get a lot of time these days, but it's not a great start, is it? It's no wins from 4 competitive games, and I understand what Barry's saying. He's still figuring out his best starting 11 and what formation suits best. But the kind of going back to the kind of recruitment, I think if you go, he has still spent 20 million pounds, and has that 20 million made the starting 11 better? I would say it hasn't.
On the Rhine, first caller, Derek, big Rangers fan. Hi, Derek. Good evening.
Good evening, Paul, and the panel. It's okay, Aidan, spending money, but when you're not buying the right players, the Americans are treating the fans as absolute mugs, and it's time Andrew Kavanagh was put under the spotlight now. They're treating Rangers as a project when they're buying middle-of-the-road players to try and make them better and make them a profit. People spending £1,000 a season in season books and to watch this absolute dross. And see last night, if that was across the city, you wouldn't have got down London Road, Paul, because they would have been protesting, demanding answers. There are too many of the Rangers fans expecting mediocrity and bang average players and saying nothing.
Look, Paul,
that's 1 game out of 5. We have not won a game at Ibrox in the last 5 or 6. That's disgraceful.
Paul, so
we're watching absolute dross.
So what would you say to Ross?
Sorry, Ross.
Yeah,
that's okay. Get name wrong there. Ross, who do you think signed the players in?
It's not the manager.
Well, he did sign Lauren Shankland and Cammy Devlin. I don't think they were that was a board signing. So he must have some say in it.
That's the problem, but because they're bang average players for Hearts. They're not going to win Rangers championships. If you look, Asgard, championship player in England. Gasmia, championship player in England. Ross McCrory, championship player in England. Hernandez, championship player in England. The 2 players that you've just mentioned, bang average players at Hearts. There's 6 players that were started last night. Only going to win Rangers championships.
Yeah,
they're signing bang average middle of the road players that aren't good enough.
Derek, what I will say, I would be absolute shocked if Derek doesn't have the final say who comes through the doors at Ibrox. I'll be honest with you. It has to be the manager that has the final say. He's the one that's going to be coaching them. He's the one that's going to be picking the team. So I would be absolute shocked if Derek doesn't give it the green light to sign the players. But what I do also agree with you is it's not a project, Rangers. 100%. Rangers, you have to win. You have to start winning trophies. It's not a project. It's not a case of in 2 and 3 years we'll build a team to win trophies. No, you have to win trophies this season.
A Rangers fan's going to see the best of Lauren Shankland. Back to you in a second.
I'll not be the Rangers manager.
I'll go again, Derek. Let's hear you. Sorry.
I'll say he'll not be the Rangers manager at the September weekend. I'll say he'll be away with him.
But I was going to ask you there, Lon Shanklin, you wanted to sign him 15 months ago, so
Yep.
is he bang average? I don't think so.
No,
Top
listen,
scorer.
I said it's a year or two too late, but I still believe if he gets the right service, Lorne Shanklin will score you goals. Look, again, he's not had the best start to his Rangers career, but I do believe, as I said, if you get the right players round about him and you play the way that suits a player like Lorne Shanklin, I do believe he will score goals for Rangers.
And by the end of September, I mean, you hate to hear that about any manager. And Derek McInnes is the one that most Rangers fans wanted. I think that'd be fair, Barry, wasn't it? That when Danny Rowe stayed over in the continent, then most of the Rangers fans said, not everybody, it never is everybody.
And I understand Derek's frustration. Look, Derek calls in here a lot. He's passionate about his team. But speaking in terms of the manager of the Rangers, Derek McInnes, he will really understand that it's nowhere near good enough at the start. You could see when he's talking, he's very straight and honest about it. But he'll be desperate for his first win, and it needs to come on Sunday, Paul, because if it keeps continuing like this, the noises get louder and louder. So come Sunday, it's huge at Ibrox at 4 o'clock.
This was him at full time last night.
It wasn't good enough. What we served up, particularly second half, wasn't good enough. We've got to be honest with that. I've got to own it. I felt we had to make the game open, and it was a bit too open at times first half. And obviously Gassama and Yakota playing as kind of effectively wing backs. We were asking a lot of them at times. But I thought it paid dividends in terms of penalty box action, getting the goal. I thought we were good value for getting in at 1-0 at half time. But I still thought that Jagiellonia had cut off scares, and mostly again on when the ball was dead and on transitions. There was a bit of anxiety there. I thought we took Tello off at half time, just felt we wasn't getting involved in the game enough, and we go a back four, and the reason we go a back four is to try and get Gassama and Yokota a wee bit more effective higher up the pitch, because I think it was a lot to ask of them to do that for 90 minutes playing in the position they were in, and by doing that hopefully provide the service a bit more regular for Shankland and Nadiri. But we have to say, it's once again, it's not another 90-minute performance. That's been aimed at Rangers for a while now. Last season I think it was aimed at strong 45 minutes, wasn't followed up, or just playing in stages and playing in parts of the game. And we have to be honest, it's been a continuation of that this season already. In the 4 games we've played, we've had some good moments, but it's not been good enough, and certainly not a strong enough 90-minute performance. And I just thought that, although I didn't think we were great at the second half, I didn't think they were creating too much. But for us to lose the goal, we do, where it's our set play, first forward pass that they play is in the bottom left-hand corner in front of the Colton Road, and for it to end up scoring at the top right-hand corner in front of the Broomlin is just madness. It's inexplicable how we don't make a foul, how we don't stop the flow of the attack, how we don't just sanitise that whole situation. It's like intelligence, it's like doing the right thing, to be honest, just make a foul and stop the attack. I think once they equalised, it was so difficult because the players lost more confidence. The situation becomes a bit desperate, and I just thought we lost all our kind of composure after that.
Barry, what do you think of what he said at full time?
Yeah, at the goal, I'll be honest with you, play the game. Sometimes when a team hit you in the counter-attack, a couple of passes, as Derek's just mentioned there, foul. Take a foul. Go and take a yellow card so the team are not breaking away. And do you know what? That's game management for me. That's intelligence on the pitch. And that's something that Derek's obviously saying there. But I just thought when they scored the equaliser, they looked frightened. People were scared to make mistakes. That's when I believe that you need the 2 or 3 leaders in the team, on the pitch, who are going to take that responsibility, and that's something that I think Derek's missing at this moment in time.
He's going to have to get them in the next 2 weeks, isn't he, Aidan? He needs to get some players in who, a bit of creativity, for example, in the midfield, some leaders.
Well, going back to Barry, you mentioned at the start of the show about a midfielder who can break up play and can, as a number 6. The Rangers not already have that.
They've brought Dan Neil in. They've got Nico Raskin who's playing there. I believe Nico Raskin's better further forward. I've spoken about it loads of times, Ed, and I worked with him for 3 months, and I just think he brings so much more to the team when he plays that bit further forward. I just feel they need somebody in there with a bit of know-how, a bit of experience, 28, 29, 30-year-old who can really dictate a game and organise. See, when Rangers are breaking forward, and as you know, if you're hitting somebody on the counter-attack, it breaks down. There's no organisation behind the ball. I
Yeah.
think you've got to be really organised.
Well, I
That's
think-
when you need a couple of players when you're in the attack, making sure everybody's in the right position in case it breaks down.
I think that's what you've seen they were lacking against Hibs, wasn't it, in the
Yep.
last
Mhm.
10, 15 minutes of that game? Yeah, look, I think there will be players coming in, but we've seen a lot of players come in already, and they're kind of almost written off already to an extent. And going back to Derek's post-match thoughts there, if you have a team lined up at 3-5-2 at half time and you're thinking that we actually played quite well,
Mhm.
I think you made a mistake. I think you realised you made a mistake. You had to change it at half time.
What would you say to Derek, our caller there? Derek, coming back to you. You say the end of September, you say, well, that's really early. But Barry, it's only the 14th of August
Yep.
and non-stop. You can imagine the Rangers fans, last night wasn't toxic, you said. It's different from what
No,
it was.
I was at the
Yeah.
game. Look, there was a lot of frustration and anger.
You could hear the
whi-
boos, yeah.
which is normal at Ibrox when you don't win a game of football. And you don't want to hear that and say that. But look, the Rangers fans are demanding. They do pay a lot of money to go and watch you. It's been like that at Rangers for years and years and years, and it will never change. I just feel when something goes against them on the pitch, that's when I want to see somebody or a number of players on the pitch take the responsibility, and I don't see that at this moment in time.
Do you think they're lacking the players that understand and can take criticism and understand what it plays into?
I mean, you
what it takes to
played
play
at
for the
Celtic.
fans, do you know
If
what
you
I mean?
go and make a mistake, the fans are grumbling, but you need to forget about that and just go and show a bit. You've got a bit between your teeth. Give me the ball again. And I feel that people are shying away from that responsibility.
And that was labelled at Rangers from last season as well, wasn't it? The
Yep.
mentality issue.
Mhm.
That was labelled at them a lot last year.
Derek, are you going to go on Sunday, 4 o'clock, St Mirren?
I'm working Sunday, unfortunately, Paul. I don't
Okay.
finish at 4 o'clock. But they've scored one goal from open play,
Yeah.
Paul. That's just no good enough. They've scored one goal at Dundee United. The other goals have been own goals or penalties. That's just, it's atrocious. And in the next couple of weeks, Paul, Ibrox, the attendances will start creeping down,
I'll tell you.
even this early.
Shows the need for that.
no
for
buying into
creative
this.
players.
And people say about Derek McInnes. Derek McInnes is like a lot of the players, middle of the road managers. People, because he's Scottish, people bum him up. He's a middle of the road manager. And that's
Look-
the problem.
look-
He's like Stevie Clark, middle of the road, bang average manager.
Look what he did with Hearts, though. Took them to
So he didn't
within
win in, Paul. He
Uh,
didn't win in.
I agree with that. It didn't win it.
10 minutes away from
I mean,
the title.
with 8 games to go, he bottled it. That's the bottom line. You can blame referees all you want. He's won one away game out of the last 9, if you include Hearts and Rangers. That's just no good enough.
I mean, Derek, we did say in here at the end of last season, the Hearts fans and the Rangers fans shouldn't worry so much about refereeing decisions because this will happen. Worry about the way Hearts were playing. They've had one away win since January, and Derek was in charge until, obviously, the summertime. So, yeah, there were some cracks there as well. But, I mean, he's been a really, really good manager. Is he going to do it at Rangers? He must be.
It's
But-
okay being a manager, Paul, when you've got every man back behind the ball and defending and working off, holding on to 1-0. At Rangers, you don't get away with that. And he's I think there's similarities to him and Stevie Clark when they're okay, when you're 1-0, you can get every man back behind the ball. And he's a boring defensive manager, I think. I don't think he'll make it at Rangers. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see it.
So,
and
Derek, can I ask you a
ten-
question? Sorry.
Yes.
Would you take someone who's got a great style of play in football you want to watch with defeats, or doesn't really matter how they play as long as you're winning games? Because you've had a bit of the both at times.
And he's not winning games of football. Like, the fans will be very quick to turn on Derek McInnes because they see it as another disaster season.
But I also heard
Well,
last season when Danny Rowe was winning games, there was a lot of unhappy fans as well about watching the style of football.
Barry, would
But
you
they're
agree?
only one way playing football and it's winning. Doesn't matter how you win.
Aye, okay. Well, there's plenty of ways to win a football game anyway.
They've got to be better
Yep.
managers than Derek McInnes. Every manager the Americans have brought in has been a project that are going to accept mediocrity. Like, and since Steven Gerrard's been the Rangers manager, Rangers have had 8 managers and spent £200 million to win 3 trophies.
27 signings in 12 months at Rangers. Derek, thank you so much for your call. Oh,
It's a
Yeah.
big turnover of
Isn't it?
players. It is. I mean, I seen that stat
Yeah.
yesterday.
27
Yeah.
in a year. I mean, that's
I
impossible.
thought it was going to be 28, but obviously,
Dewey-ish.
the boy,
Yeah.
for PSV, that didn't happen.
He's got an injury, Barry. Is that the?
Yeah,
that
I
is the
don't
issue?
think it was a serious one. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks. But Rangers need to sign players. If they're going to sign players, are players that have to come straight into that starting 11.
Derek, thanks for your call. Malcolm is up next. Malcolm will be with you straight after this break.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Thanks for making the switch. So many people now tuning in to
I wish
the
you would
show.
give me some good news.
Yeah, indeed. Barry Ferguson is here. What colour is that? Black or dark blue you're wearing tonight? It's a natty
Navy.
dark blue. It's navy, of course it is.
Navy.
Barry, well, you started. You said that. What a week, couple of weeks for you, Barry. And Aiden McGeady is with us as well. We're going to talk Celtic in a second or two. First of all, it's the big derby tonight, the Ayrshire derby, Kilmarnock against Ayr United. We'll talk about that shortly. There'll be a huge crowd. Ayr United are taking, Aiden, I believe, your old team, 3,000 supporters.
Yeah, well, that is the only derby. That was one of the things that when I was working down there, I tried to say at the club, like the size of Ayrshire, you've only really Ayr and Kilmarnock. How can we tap into the next generation of fans to get fans on the football pitch or fans watching games? And because when I grew up, I bought a Man United strip. I don't know what strip you bought as an English team.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? You obviously bought Rangers. I know that. Of course.
Queen's Park Rangers.
Aye, but when I was growing up, everyone had a Man United strip. So nowadays, all my kids buy Man City strips. And why is that? It's because they're the best team and they've got the best product in the pitch. So I was trying to say, look, you've got a massive area to tap into here of the next generation of fans. I know historic. You'll have people who are Celtic, Rangers who travel, but if you can get games Friday night and you can have a good product in the pitch, you'll entice more fans. But I honestly think that this season they were one of my tips. Remember,
That's right.
Me
2
and
weeks
Kev,
ago,
me and
you
Kev
did.
were sitting here,
Yeah.
and they were talking about United, and I said, you need to mention United because the way I think they're going this season, I think they could be challenging.
Spot on.
Good appointment.
Yep.
Gary Naismith done a brilliant job at Stenhousemuir. Got them up into the Championship. I think he deserved another crack at it. And yeah, I think they'll be up there challenging.
Jamie Murphy in that seat last night, Barry, will be. What is he going to play tonight, or is he on the bench? We'll tell you soon.
What did he say? Did he say they would go up, or did he just sit on the fence?
I think he didn't say exactly what would happen, but he's up for this season.
Yeah, he's
Looking
optimistic,
forward to it. Yeah. Let's go on the lines. Malcolm has been waiting. Malcolm, sorry to keep you. Good evening.
You're okay. It's been good listening.
I thank you, Malcolm.
I was phoning up to ask Barry a question. I'm a Celtic fan, but Aiden, with respect, absolute baller, and you were at Celtic.
Well, many thanks.
Barry, have you got
baller?
Have you got your suit and tie looked at?
My suit and tie looked at.
For Barry.
Aye, so I think you've got a very difficult tie this weekend against St Mirren.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, so, listen.
The pressure's going to be on.
Yep. And they've got to be able to handle that pressure, Malcolm. I mean, it was a sore one. They seen the fans' disappointment after the game. But I always say, I don't know how Aiden feels when I suffered a defeat. I was just desperate for the next game to come along. I was desperate. I would go home when I speak to MD. I was in a bad mood. I just wanted the next game, and the beauty at Rangers have got is they've got a game at Ibrox where the fans will come with expectations, and this group of players have got to handle that.
Has he got the group of players who can win?
Time will tell.
Yeah,
I'm going to the game. Obviously, I go to all home games, and it'll be interesting to see first and foremost, what lineup he picks, what formation he picks. But it has to be a team that goes and makes sure they get into the quarterfinals. And St Mirren, it'll not be an easy game.
Yep.
They've started the season really well. A good Premier Sports group stage campaign. Good win away to Falkirk. They beat St Johnstone 1-0 last week. So it's not going to be a pushover.
Malcolm, coming to your question about Celtic in a moment. This was Martin O'Neill this afternoon about Arnie Engels on his way to West Ham United.
I would imagine that he's probably at this minute doing the medical. I think that West Ham wanted him to be available for opening day of the season. Naturally, disappointed really that he's leaving the football club. He's done very well for us, particularly in in the couple of spells that I've been here. And it's hard to dissuade him of that. If it hadn't come up, I think he'd been happy, and he didn't complain at all. Even though the offer came in very late from Nottingham Forest in January time, never moaned about it at all. So it's an opportunity for him at the end of, and it's really hard to turn it down. It would be hard for him, and he's going to really fantastic football club.
Malcolm, how do you feel about Arnie Engels?
Absolute great bit of business for a start, but for what he did for the club, I think it was very underrated. Everybody sees he did a lot of the dirty work, breaking up play in style cut. Very physical player. I thought he was very good. I think we get another year out of him, he probably goes for a lot more. But no, I thought he was a very good player. But I just get the feeling that Martin O'Neill's cooking at the moment with the players that he's taken in. I'm just getting a part to Aiden. What do you think, and how the approach that Celtic have went with the transfers this season?
Well, it's funny how time changes a lot of things and opinions. So about 2 weeks ago, I was very much, I'm looking for signings in. I think everybody knows the team needs reinforcements, but the way they kind of done it with letting Maeda go and then bringing Casper Hugh in, and then obviously Casper Hugh doesn't go off to the best start, but then scores a hat-trick at the weekend. So that's, no one talks about that anymore. I think Celtic are kind of doing their business slowly, but the only thing is that kind of worries me slightly is if Engels goes today, and I know Mika Bauer's come in, is he a like-for-like replacement for him? That's what I'm hoping. That the little bits I've seen of him, it looks quite small, but very technical, understands space, good spatial awareness, good passer. Does he have the legs that Engels has? Because there was talk of going back to possibly a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2 under Martin to try and get his two strikers in the team, Duran and Casper Hugh. But hopefully it's a like for like replacement. But yeah, again on Engels. Sorry, on you go.
sorry, I didn't interrupt you there. I don't think he's the cover for Engels. I think he's more of the real playmaker kind of cover. I think Celtic will pick somebody in. I think they're looking at a couple of people in the background. I think the boy from Torino is the kind of Engels replacement, the physical box-to-box kind of guy.
Yep. Listen, here's Mika Burr speaking today about what kind of player he is.
Yeah, I think especially because we're dominating, so I'm really good at the ball. I think I developed myself also the game against the ball last season. So I'm running a lot, I'm fighting, but I want to be a playmaker. I want the ball on my feet. That's what they expect from me, and that's what you guys also can expect. That I try my best, let my heart on the field every time. So,
Aiden?
Okay, well, I think by all accounts he is going to be Engels' replacement, isn't he? So he's got big shoes to fill. Hatate obviously is completely out the picture because you're always going to play McGregor and Aiden one other, and then Negan ahead of them. So it looks to me that he's going to be the replacement for there. So again, hopefully that's it.
I don't think he's got to be Engels' replacement.
Who do you think he'll replace then?
Hatate cannot take
Hatate's not playing
in the middle of the park.
Hatate doesn't play.
He thinks he's a replacement for Hatate.
He was. Hatate's pushed himself out of the team for a reason, but he was that technical player that stood there against Carl McGregor. I think Martin's got to get two playing alongside each other, Callum and each other. It was Engels, and I think he thought a lot of Engels. I think he will take in somebody that's got that physicality in the middle of the
right.
market.
So, but then that kind of leaves up to, there's not enough space for the players that you're talking about. So when Engels was out the team last season, that's when Hatate played. Since then, Hatate hasn't played.
Change the system.
Change the system. What would you have as a system?
Yep. Well, I honestly think he's got to go 3-5-2.
3-5-2, right? So then if you go 3,
or he's got to play the 4-5-1 with the big Hugh up front and 2 sitting back behind him.
there's quite a lot of players need to come out of the team. Then there's got to be some. You're going to lose in certain areas there. So if you want to go a 4, so you said a 3-5-2 there. So who's out wide?
It's giving them options. Do you think it's giving them so much options? You can do so much with what he's got.
Yeah,
you play a certain team, you play a certain style.
They are still looking for another midfield player. Genetis has been mentioned. The Torino
be a physical.
Malcolm, the Torino player. The Torino player you mentioned, Gvidas Genetis. His name's been mentioned for weeks and weeks as a number. So I think there is going to be another signing.
I think he's. Yeah. I would agree with that.
Barry, what are you thinking? Celtic should just play 10 players. So I could just see. I'm not. Barry and I looked. You looked
Listen,
at me.
I'm just thinking Engels. I've watched Engels quite a few times. I still think there was more to come.
See his game on Sunday. It's probably the best I'd seen him play.
Yeah, I like him. He's got very good attributes. Just a bit surprised he's went to the Championship. But listen, you would be absolutely shocked what West Ham would be able to pay him. Treble what he would be on. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Aiden.
100 grand a week.
Definitely.
Yeah,
treble what he would be on at Celtic.
But you're playing in the Championship, which is not going to be easy.
Yeah, but looking at the Championship, West Ham have come down. I know they've sold a couple of players, but they've spent a fair bit of money. I would expect West Ham to come straight back up. But going to the Championship, I played in the Championship down there. I know.
It ain't easy, is it?
No,
it ain't easy.
No. It's a dogfight. Absolute dogfight.
Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's a tough place to play. But listen, he's a good player, but I think there was still more to come.
This was Martin O'Neill speaking today, Malcolm, about Alistair Johnson.
He'll be out for a few weeks, yes. By the time he's fit, it'll be past the transfer deadline. And he's been very stoic about it, really. He played, having had a very, very, very good World Cup, and he played here, did a little bit of training with us, put him into the opening game. He got through that, and it's just a shame for him, really. But it's not long term. It's something that he'll get over, and he'll be back. And he's a really good player. Disappointment, perhaps, maybe that disappears. He'll be back, and they'll be raring to go. And so Alistair, helped us out immensely, in coming in and playing without a great deal of preparation beforehand. After the World Cup, you get a couple of days or a couple of weeks break. And it's just a bit of a shame, but that's football.
Aiden, your reaction to that?
No, look, I think from what I've seen and what I've heard of Engels, look, he's a professional player. I don't think I've seen any drop off in his performances from January onwards. Even when there was the 2 or 3 bids that came in from Forest for 20 million, 22 million, 23, whatever it was, he still maintained the level of professionalism that he had. Still performed every single week. His head didn't drop. I mean, because this is what happens. You've been there yourself when a bid comes in and you want to go. But he probably played his best game at the weekend. I thought he ran tirelessly. He set up a lot of chances. His pass was fantastic. But we go back to Celtic's model. You do sign young foreign, rough diamonds, and you polish them up and give them a platform. And at some point, they're going to go because people are driven. They have different drivers, don't they? Some are financial, some are trophies, some are whether it's to do with what to be settled in the life. But Arnie was probably one of them where he thinks it's too much to turn down and too big an opportunity for him.
Yeah, he's on his way to West Ham, and Alistair Johnson will be here at least until the summer.
Out of the players that Celtic have got, he would be the biggest loss if they lost Alistair Johnson.
Alistair Johnson, yeah. So
he'd be a hard one to replace. I don't think they've actually got somebody there at this moment in time.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to say on recruitment. Is if he goes, then obviously you need to bring another right back. But the closer it gets to this Champions League game, I don't want the squad to be thin for it.
Ermin Martmic is another name for an attacking midfielder that we might hear about coming to Glasgow. Listen, Malcolm, there's a lot on the go. Are you confident about this weekend at Dundee United?
Never confident. We'll still be grass in the pitch this time. But on Alistair John, I feel very sorry for him because there was a move there and a lot of money involved. But I didn't think the money that was involved was nowhere near what Alistair Johnson is worth. I think he's captain material, one of our best players. I didn't get the 50 million, I think it was quoted that Everton was looking for him. No, and I feel really sorry for him that the injury happened and he's got to come out with the window. But selfishly, I am so chuffed that he's here.
And you're looking forward to seeing Hassan, who signed yesterday, the Egyptian winger who mesmerised everybody at the World Cup.
I don't think he's got to play at the weekend. I don't think he's been off for a month.
That's right.
He's been off for a month, I think it was. So I don't think he's got to get a game at the weekend. I think Martin Neal kind of said that in his conference. I'll be really looking forward to see Mikael Bauer if he gets the opportunity here a few minutes. But I think the biggest thing is just I want to see Hugh again, or who, or how do you pronounce it? I'm not sure. So
Big Casper.
I think it's
Big Casper. Let's go there. Yeah, Casper.
Malcolm, thank you so much for your
thank
call.
you very much. Cheers, guys. Have a good weekend.
Cheers, Malcolm.
Thanks a lot
Cheers.
there. Malcolm calling into the Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas. 0808 17 17 700. So many comings and goings. Barry, Rangers on Monday. Was it Monday? The AGM. Andrew Kavanagh said 3 to 5 players still to come in. So there's going to be some amount of activity. Andy's on, a big Rangers fan, saying, Barry, do you trust this recruitment team to get it right? There's a bit, people want to give the manager a chance. He's only been in for, 6-7 weeks.
My honest opinion, recruitment's the most important part of a football club. And over the piece, over the last number of years, the recruitment's... you've got to get a high percentage of your recruitment good. You're always going to have one or two that don't work. I think Rangers have had far too many that have not worked. And these next few signings that Derek McInnes is absolutely desperate for need to be spot on. As I said, Paul, they need to be players who are going to be coming straight into the starting 11. You don't need to bulk up the squad. I think the squad is top heavy. I still believe that there'll be a number of players to go. But again, I keep thinking to myself, clubs have got to want these players. That's the problem you've got. Diomande just left. Was it yesterday or the day before? That was a surprise. I didn't think he was going to leave. But listen, the recruitment's got to be spot on. These next 3 or 4 signings have to be players that are going to make a huge difference to this Rangers team.
Rangers fans, what are you thinking? You heard Derek earlier on. Derek, the Rangers fan, saying, I think the manager will be away by the end of September. So, if you're Derek McInnes, you must be thinking, right, come on. You're well paid. You've got so many players here. He's trying to get the best 11 to start. He does tinker a bit. That's maybe is that fair to say tinker? A lot of people say, why did you take Asgard off? He talks about this actually at the media conference today. Why did he then bring on Ross McCrory? And some of the Rangers fans want to know what's happening with the recruitment, because 27 players.
Listen, see, at the end of the day, see if you're not winning games, the spotlight's going to be on the manager and he's going to be under pressure. Listen, he'll understand that, and the players have to understand that, and they need to be ready for this in Sunday, Paul, because this is a potential banana skin. If they're not on it, as I said to you, St Mirren have started the season pretty brightly. It's not going to be an easy game, but the fans are going to come in their numbers, and they're going to demand to see a victory. Forget about the performance. Make sure you win.
Haven't won at all. This is game number 5 for Rangers. Do you know the team you would play, Barry? I'm not asking for it just now, but I will before 7 o'clock. What would you do? Which team, if they're fit, would you put out for Rangers against St Mirren to win a game?
Are you asking me now?
No. Have a think about it. You've probably thought about it already anyway. Aiden, let's hear. It was good to hear Martin O'Neill back at the media conference today, and he was asked about how's his health, how's his fitness.
I'm doing fine. Doing fine. Thank you very much for asking. Well, I think that they did pretty well without me anyway, so I don't have to worry too much in that score. Yeah, listen. It happens when you get to my age. You might have a few problems. Hopefully, it never happens to you. I'm sure it never will. But I'm getting there.
The best tonic must have been watching the game on Sunday.
Yeah, is it in future just stay away, Martin? best performance of the season. So no, I think he knew he met the players in the morning, didn't he? And had a chat with them. But look, that team would have been picked anyway by himself and Sean Maloney. And look, obviously, Martin's not a hands-on coach as such. So Sean, Steve McManus, and Mark Fotheringham, they take the guts of training anyway. So I don't think there would have been too much different apart from maybe the way they looked at St Johnstone played the week before, to then think, surely they're not going to play this way again. St Johnstone, Kilmarnock, the way they played St Johnstone the week before, and then are they going to play this way against Celtic? And then the way they played, it was like, I know it was Celtic's best performance of the season, but Kilmarnock made it easy for them at times.
Yeah, and I like Neil's interview after it. It's on me. He's took responsibility. They're just a bit wide open. But listen, Celtic, you've got to be honest. I think when Celtic scored the first goal, Kilmarnock had a period about 10 minutes after that.
Yeah.
They were good, but once they got that second goal, and then it was basically game over.
Go Radio Football Show, not to be missed. Barry Ferguson and Aiden McGeady. More of your calls next.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
The off to game this weekend. It starts tonight. Kilmarnock against Ayr United, 7:45. It's on Premier Sports because it's the Premier Sports Cup. Tomorrow at 3, Aberdeen against Dundee, Dunfermline against Ross County, and Dundee United against Celtic, the beaten finalists last year against St Mirren. And then Sunday, Hearts against Inverness, Hibs against Partick Thistle, Stenhousemuir against Motherwell, and Rangers against St Mirren. Well done Motherwell last night, 2-0 against HJK. Barry, they're through. What a start to the season.
Great result, and they've carried off with what they've done last season. I thought they were terrific to watch last season. I've seen them live 3 or 4 times, and they take risks, but they were a joy to watch. I've got to be honest with you, and they've started off the season really well, and that's a good result from last night against Helsinki.
Side got a double. Aiden, don't know if you've seen much of him. I know you watch everything, but I hear a lot of good things about him.
Yeah. No, look, I think, not just him, I think if you go back to Motherwell's recruitment in the past 2 seasons, I would say, it's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, they're almost adopting that model of bring players in, develop them, give them a platform and sell them on. And I think last season's style of play massively helped with that. And it's it's fantastic for Mull to be able to lose some of their really important players and kind of carry on this season playing in the same way. I know it's a new manager, but playing in the same way and kind of getting the same results as well. So I think Motherwell will be very exciting this season. I'd imagine they'll be in a similar position they were at the end of last season.
It's quite cruel. They've got Freiburg though, isn't it? Who were the runners up?
Listen, that's what you've got to deal with when you get a victory.
Sure.
Yeah, listen, and they'll fancy their chances. I know it'll be a tougher game, but listen, the way Motherwell can play at times, they'll fancy their chances at home, certainly.
Aiden, one of your old teams, Hibs, good result last night, 0-0 in Macedonia against Gendija, and they'll be playing against Ghent.
That's a difficult one, isn't it? That's a difficult one.
Away next week. Yep.
No, look, I think Hibs just obviously, I think you want to get through as far as you can in the European stages, but I think Ghent might be one step too far. But look, it's 2 games. It's 2 games where anything can happen. But I think Hibs needed that in terms of domestically. They need that win against Rangers because there was a lot of talk after the first game where they lost 2-1 to Motherwell. A lot of criticism aimed at David Gray, and managed to answer it in the right way with going out with some winning. But European competition is, at the minute, and getting to the further stages isn't their bread and butter. It's the league, and I just want to see Hibs kick on because David had that first great season, took over, finished 3rd, then made the top 6 last season, but it's carrying on from that again and becoming stable in those positions.
Hearts are going to play Rapid Vienna.
In terms of Hibs, I was at the game on Sunday. I've got to be honest with you, the last 20-25 minutes it was waves of attack for Rangers, but I've got to say Hibs set up and defensively I thought they were excellent on Sunday against Rangers.
What do you think of Chaiwa? I see he's being mentioned.
I like him. But I've not seen too much of him, but
he probably goes back to the player that you're talking about that Rangers are looking for.
No.
Just an absolute dog, gets about.
He looks good.
Would Rangers go for him?
Well, it's an area of the pitch I firmly believe that they need to get somebody in the door. And as I said, he's impressed by Hibs. He's impressed, when he's played with Hibs. And that was any game away from home in Europe's always tough.
Rangers will play Jablonec of the Czech Republic, and first game at Ibrox next week, Barry, 7:45. Not the game you'd have wanted, but Mike, it's another must-win. They are.
Any game you play with Rangers, you've got to win.
Shock headlines, must win.
Yeah.
Are they going to win this weekend? Lots of Rangers fans calling in, Celtic fans as well ahead of the games. Let's hear Derek McInnes a bit more about how they're going to get this right. How does he change things?
I do think quality comes into it, but it's also having the wherewithal to keep doing what you're doing and improve. We said at half time, there's no backslapping. We're winning the game here, and we've done what was expected of us, no more. We were expected to win the first half, but we still had more to do to win the tie. And the game was finally poised. I think Jagiellonian had enough opportunities and enough confidence about them at times. They look like a team that's been together a bit, and they're got a good way of playing. So we knew the game still needed our full attention, but we weren't we weren't good enough second half. So, but the reason I think is a bit of both of what you said. I think there is an element of We need to show more quality, but we also need to stay on top of the job more, and I think it's a concentration thing as much as anything.
Barry, on that there, the concentration. They talked about mentality last season.
I just, as I said, you go in, it's an okay performance in the first half. You've got that goal, and then you want to really kick on in the second half, and they just didn't.
Did you expect them to?
Yeah, I did. Jagiellonia were good in the second half, but we allowed them to be good. You need to put teams under pressure when they come to Ibrox. I just felt we sat off them. Don't get me wrong, they had some decent footballers, but if you look at the team as a whole, I think they were okay. They were nothing special.
Bit more about working hard to try to turn this round.
Yeah, I think until deals are done and over the line, and it's tough for me to actually comment on that, but we're actively trying to get some players in. The club's working so hard, I see it first hand. My office is next door to the recruitment lads and to everybody else, and there's constant conversations, so everybody's working extremely hard to get the necessary players, the type of players that we require at the club, and not just sign any player. So we're hopeful we can land a few. I know Andrew said at the shareholders meeting between 3 and 5, and so we've still got work to do to get that type of number in.
Contrast it with what Celtic are saying about the recruitment team, and Celtic have been criticised for a few seasons about some of the recruitment. This was Martin O'Neill asked about it today.
I've got nothing but great admiration for the recruitment staff. They're honestly, tirelessly mentioning players to me, right, left and centre, right from the off, right from the minute they said that you're going to be back in again this season. So yeah, we've been trying our best, really have been trying our best. Some things that we have not been able to do, and some things hopefully we can still do between now and the end of transfer deadline. It would have been lovely, as I said, to have had some of these players like Hassim, like Mika, having had some real proper football with us in terms of time on the field before we played really a difficult couple of Champions League qualifying games. Outside that there, I'm really happy with the boys that are coming in.
Jim's on from Curlook, a Celtic fan, saying, Aidan, why does it take so long though and they end up paying top dollar?
Look, I think sometimes Celtic can be reactive as opposed to proactive in terms of transfer window, because I know there was a lot of the disconnect between the fans and the board, and after I've known they brought in two signings and let 16 go, the fans are wanting to see reinforcements. But again, to say how it works, it's not all straight and forward. You identify a player, and then does he want to come? Then there's wages, then there's agents involved, and there's plenty of forwards and backwards negotiations. But it's not as easy as you think, just getting a player in. And look, I think with Celtic have a valuation of a player, and that's not always met, by the club. And these can be the stumbling blocks. But look, 2 weeks ago we were saying, look, Celtic need players in now. If you look at the squad, you're going, Celtic are in a good position now going into this Champions League qualifier. So the nuances of what goes on behind the scenes can be quite difficult, but I think Celtic have taken their time this window. Slightly longer than we would have hoped, but they have managed to get good quality in, and that's the thing. And I think everybody now is excited going into these games.
Certainly a lot quicker than this time last year. Barry, Celtic's recruitment, I know it doesn't really concern you as, a Rangers legend, you're still very much in at Rangers, but it's quality, isn't it, over quantity, I guess, that Rangers need in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. Listen, all supporters want to see their team make signings, but I think it's important that you get quality. And it looks at this moment in time that Celtic have spent well. I know they've signed a couple of players. We need to see how they perform, but you signed Big Ho for, what was it, £11.5 million. I watched the game against Dundee. I'm thinking, I know his movement was pretty decent. He had a few chances he's got to score, but then he bangs in a hat-trick, and that's the monkey off his back now. He'll go and he'll probably score a number of goals. But in terms of Rangers, the next 3 or 5 signings that Derek spoke about have to be the ones that are bang on the button, because I think then you can judge the recruitment once the window's closed. I know there's a few question marks in some of the signings that have come in, and rightly so. That's what happens. But I think you should wait and judge it once the window closes.
That's hour one already. It's flown in. We're straight back after the news.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Hour two, what a first hour we had with Barry Ferguson, Aiden McGeady and me, Paul Cooney. 0808 17 17 700 going into the weekend, which kicks off in, well, an hour and a half. Killie against Ayr United. Jamie's on the phone already. He's a big Kilmarnock fan saying, come on, Neil McCann's team, you have to do it tonight after a difficult time at the weekend. And what do? Do you twist or do you turn when you play against Celtic? Then they were too open, weren't they, Barry? But I had Martin and Neil said it after Celtic went up. Killie had a couple of chances.
Yeah, and listen, Neil and Dodgy will have their beliefs, but I think if you heard his interview after the game, it's on me. Maybe that he should have changed the way they approached the game. But I think they'll approach it very similar tonight. It's obviously a derby game. He'll be desperate to get a win and move into the next round.
He was asked today, will the new player, the Egyptian winger, play Hassan? I think we know the answer is not just yet, but let's see what Martin O'Neill said this afternoon.
Yeah, they're coming with us. Yeah, Mika's definitely ahead of Hassim in the sense that he has played football during after the World Cup was over. Hassim didn't get. He took a bit of a holiday. He's come back. Didn't really train with Oviedo, and trained on his own with the trainer. It's a totally different thing, really. So this is the first time that he's really joined in a couple of days. We'll see how he is, taking his fitness or not full fitness into consideration. But he's coming with us, and we'll see. I don't know whether we would start with him or not, but I wouldn't mind to get something in before we played. We played on Wednesday night, but we'll see.
And he spoke this afternoon about the signing so far.
I'm really delighted. I'm delighted with the 4 players that we brought in. I think that centre forward, even after the first game of a number of misses that he had, at least he was there. He was trying to score. He could have got 1 or 2 goals against Dundee and followed it up then with a hat-trick. So I'm delighted with him. I think that Duran has been terrific. And I think in time, the other 2 that we've signed, I think they'll do really well. Obviously hoping that that's going to be the case, but they've got good talent. Stevie's
on the line, a Celtic fan. Hi, Stevie, good evening.
Good evening, guys. How's everybody?
Good, thanks, Stevie.
Not bad, Stevie.
Sorry, guys. Obviously, it's a pleasure to talk to you again, Aidan and Barry. You know what I mean? So, I just found it interesting, Andy Halliday's comments about James Tavernier going back to Rangers, which I do agree, and obviously I'm not a Celtic fan, but I do support the Scottish teams in Europe. But I don't know how Barry feels with the amount of teams in the Conference League, Baz. Do you think that sort of increases our chances of maybe getting further, one of them, or is it going to really affect our coefficient of all 4 of them for the next hurdle?
Well, first and foremost, Steve, I would rather be in the Europa League. That's obviously... I
understand that.
There's obviously more prize money involved in that. But listen, at the end of the day, I'm not going to shy away from it. Rangers weren't good enough to get by Jagiellonia. They deserve to go through. Now you get into the conference, but I looked at the conference. There's some decent teams in the Conference League as well, if Rangers do get in that. They've obviously got to get past the Czech team, which is not going to be easy. But look, overall, Rangers just need to start winning games. That's all I'm concerned about.
Kevin Kyle mentioned on this programme about James Tavernier. Barry, would you go back to him? Because
I don't think that will happen, if I'm being brutally honest. I think, listen, he split opinion at times. Yep. I worked with him closely for 3.5 months, and look, I've not got one bad thing to say about him. He was brilliant for me. I've got to be honest with you. He was a great captain for me. He was brilliant on the pitch for me in terms of whether I played him right back. I played him right, a back 3 as well. But listen, he had a brilliant amount of appearances for Rangers. His assists and goals were excellent. But I think that's been and gone now, and I think you'll see over the next couple of weeks that James will find a new club.
Because he isn't playing anywhere. Will Rangers get an upgrade?
I'm surprised he's no, but listen, he's his own man. I'm sure it needs to be right for him and his family, wherever he's going to choose. But I'm sure you'll see that in the next couple of weeks.
Stevie, what about your own team? What are you thinking for Celtic? Arnie Engels on his way, and Alistair Johnson staying, meantime anyway, because of the injury.
It's amazing, obviously, the guy Bauer getting the other line.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you remember, it was months ago, Paul, you were on with Chrissy Burton or that, and I said, if Martin stays, then obviously the signings will happen, because the players that he identifies, they will make sure. Again, I was speaking hypothetical, if he was successful. He was successful. The signings are coming in. I totally agree. It's quality over quantity. But you say to yourself, the boy who he done really, really well. I know it's only his second game and everybody's saying he's like Henrik Moer again, but Henrik's first couple of games he was terrible. Know what I mean?
Actually, he's doing better than him already.
I know. Know what I mean? So, but I just think it's really, really good the players we've got in. As soon as Bauer was signed, you knew Engels was away. I mean, you can sort of read between the lines being an Old Firm fan. But, you know, if one's going out, one's coming in. So we made the mistake of not getting the one in. It was too late. Now we're getting them in early. And I like the fact of that. I like the boy Hassan. I watched him in the World Cup. He's quite exciting. And I just can I ask Barry a quick thing? Would he be interested in the Scotland job?
I asked him on Monday night because you're in the running, apparently, according to the bookmakers.
I love it, Barry. We love it, mate. We'd absolutely love it.
He couldn't take the pay drop on that one. Barry, would you? That's a good question.
No, listen, I'm happy what I'm doing, Paul. As I says, life's all about balance now. So I'm happy what I'm doing.
And then on that, then, who do you think will get it?
I honestly don't know. Do you know what? I've thought about it. I know people are talking about Nazy.
Aye.
But it's a job that's not going to attract top managers, because of the salary.
I mean, before Derek McInnes went to Rangers, people thought Derek McInnes would be the next
honestly,
Scotland manager.
I've been racking my brain about it. I honestly don't know who would get the job.
Eddie Howe?
Not
enough money there from him.
No.
Ali, yeah, I think he was asked, wasn't he, on Talk Sport?
I think he makes enough money in Talk Sport.
I think he makes more than, Listen, Aidan, what's the story on Landon Imanalo, who the young player down at Chelsea, isn't he? An 18-year-old spotted in Glasgow yesterday. Martin O'Neill asked about him. He was asked about him today.
Well, what can I tell you? I think he's a really fine young player. I think that obviously we need that position covered because of Kieran. Kieran did exceptionally well last season, having had been plagued with injuries at Arsenal. He came roaring back, which was great. And this young man has definitely got talent. He's got a bit of an injury at the moment. We're hoping that would clear up shortly, and if it does, and I think it will, I'd love to have him.
Aidan?
Yeah, exciting because look, it's a period of the pitch where there's no secret that Celtic need cover for that. Kieran Tierney started the season brilliantly well, but he is the only recognised left back, so you do need some cover in there. And look, if Celtic can get a very, very highly rated young player from Chelsea, who you can understand he's not going to play every single game, but he will get game time. He'll be able to develop himself and further his career. It's a win-win for both parties. But the things I've heard, I was talking to Mark Fotheringham the other day about him. He's very, very impressive. Very impressive. So,
guys, what are you thinking about the last game? Stevie, you're always at the matches because this is absolutely huge for Celtic. The game, which if they win it, home and away, if you come through it, then you've got the £40 million there in the Champions League.
Again, it's to me. You sit and say what Celtic's going to turn up, but the good victory against Comal and fair play. I mean, that's an actual breath of fresh air that a manager can turn around and goes, "It's my fault." I mean, I'll take full responsibility. No VAR, no referee, no nothing. But I just think the game being at home, Aidan, I mean, I don't know how you feel. Did it get a lead at home to take care there?
Yeah, a home tie is always easier first leg, and try and get a good win to go back over there. You don't want to be going over there and potentially losing, having to come back and win. I think get your points on the board early.
Did you always prefer that, Aidan?
I preferred that. Yeah.
Okay, Barry.
It didn't bother me. I've been honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't listen. If you get drew away in the first game, you have to deal with that situation. Yeah, I didn't look too much into that, if I'm being honest with you.
The one time we had that, well, it didn't bother me. We lost 4-0 away to Bratislava away from home, and then they scored five to go through.
Yeah.
So I think that was after that I preferred playing at home first.
It's some atmosphere in the Champions League, as you all know. You've both played in it. Stevie and I have watched it for years. Here's Mika Bauer looking forward to it.
I did, yeah. I remember like a couple years, I think 2 years ago, was Leipzig here. So yeah, for sure. You can see it in TV, you can feel it in TV, but I'm really looking forward on Wednesday to feel it like in real life, what it means to the crowd, to the city, to the fans. So yeah, let's see.
Stevie, do you think you can do that again this season? You're going to get there to the Champions League, and can you go further as you did 2 years ago?
I just think, obviously, and this is it's a conversation that all Celtic fans have. Martin, when he comes in, he sort of brings the belief in we're going to be all right and stuff like that. So we had a good run in Seville, but we didn't do well in the beginning with the Champions League to drop into the UEFA Cup, as it was called then.
Yeah.
But you just sit and say, as Aidan that said, when you're playing at home, I mean, they're in your home turf. I mean, they are only coach amateur, but if Barry or Aidan brought their team to my park, I mean, at Crown Point, we'd be battering you for the first ball. So we would, I mean, because we'd want to make sure that we stamp our authority on the game and go, you're a new back garden, guys, and you're only going to get a minute. You know what I mean? And I know obviously, it's like higher level guys, I'm not saying it's compared to that, but I think if you're going with the same mentality, again, footballers are all the same. Barry said there, I don't care, and you could see that when he was on the park. He didn't care who he was playing against. They were going to win. And that was it. He wanted to win more than anybody else. Aidan was the same. I've used the Puyol reference, I mean, where they skinned him, and I mean, and they were worried about him. But we were at home, so we had to have a goal. So we need to get something to take care there to make it comfortable. Obviously, that we know so that we secure the Champions League. So it's, I mean, and that's just my honest opinion, guys.
Out of interest, who's your team at Crown Point?
Belgrove Amateurs, mate.
Yeah.
So there'll be a wee shout out to the Belgrove boys.
Aye.
I mean,
Kick-off time. Listen,
what colour the strip do you play in?
Navy and yellow, mate.
No, shoot, I thought it'd been green and white hoops, or even stripes at least, no?
No, navy and yellow. Same any fight needed, you know what I mean? So we're about to launch a podcast at the end of the month, so
of course, yeah.
Just let me know what your appearance fees is, and we'll see what we can do, guys.
Aye, no worries, no worries.
Listen, on recruitment for Celtic, Martin O'Neill
But
spoke.
than go radio anyway.
Not, it was. It's the small checks, isn't it, Barry? Recruitment strategy at Celtic. He was asked Martin O'Neill today about the actual strategy behind what Celtic are doing.
Well, you know, ideally it would be fantastic. Any football manager would say to you, you'd love to have the players in almost the day that you arrived at the football club. Wasn't going to happen. You had some negotiations to do and all that type of stuff. But overall, I think that the message was trying to get quality in. Now, the point about it is this here, that if you lose some players, as we've done, you know, and if Arna transfer goes through, you're losing a strong midfield player who can go box to box. So you're going to miss that, you know. So we have to try and replace that. And that's what we will, even at this late stage, we will definitely try and do. I think if you're talking about quantity, I mean, you can sign there's a lot of players out there at this minute, and some players definitely within your budgets and stuff like this, and some players outside it. And I think you're just trying to work all the time to get as good as you possibly can to replace some of the players that have left. And even if those players didn't leave, you still want to augment the squad with a bit of quality, which I felt last season we really struggled, you know, to score goals. And we did score goals miraculously, and whatever we did do. But if you think a bit sometimes of the lineup, you wondered where you were going to get a few goals, and if you fell behind in matches, would you be capable of winning? We did do that in the end, but I think through sheer heart more than anything else, you know. So it'd be nice to get players in that you feel as if we can maybe conjure a goal.
How many more players do you think, Aidan, will come in for Celtic? How many do they need in the next
Well, look,
2.5 weeks?
I think a lot of it depends on if Alistair Johnson goes, because like Barry said, I think he was fundamental to Celtic, recapturing the league towards the end of last season. If he goes, you need another right back.
Yeah.
I would still be looking for another left winger. Depends. Hassan, I think, plays inverted, doesn't he? So another left or right winger. Because look, I'm not going to criticise Yang, but I think Yang is probably more of a backup player in my opinion. I think Celtic need a top winger, and they've tried in the past, obviously Tunekti and Balakwisha. I think you need someone else who's a starting left or right winger. Which at the minute I think Yang is playing there kind of almost by default.
And probably another goalkeeper as well. They'll need cover for Sinisalo. So maybe 4 or 5. You get the midfielder as well. Still to come. 4 players maybe.
Depends on what his role is though, because I mean, people are saying he's not going to be like Engels, but if he's going to play in a 2 next to Cal McGregor, one of them's got to have legs, don't they, to get about the pitch like Engels did. So yeah, I would say 4 or 5 come in hopefully before the first Champions League game, and I think we're all happy. For
Rangers, Barry, James Penrice, somebody you talked about a year ago. Is he coming?
Need a left back to come in because Romans is out for 4 to 6 weeks. I'd say another right back. I'd say a central midfielder. I would say another wide player and a striker stroke attacking midfielder.
On Penrice, do you think it'll happen? A loan deal?
Well, they need to get a left back in as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will be done before the game on Sunday. I don't know how registrations work or whatever, but they need a left back ASAP.
What about Vaclav Cherny? Billy is on asking Barry. He wants him to come. Do you think it'll happen as the window?
Well, no-brainer if a deal can be done. Listen, I think I've said you've asked me this question 4 or 5 times. He's a difference maker. He's a top professional. He understands Glasgow. He understands what goes on here. He's been before, and he's a quality operator. So he ticks all the boxes for me.
Aidan, what did you think of him?
No, I liked him. His initial first start, when he was kind of breaking into the team, I wasn't too sure of him. I thought he was quite one-dimensional, but as the season went on, his numbers that he was putting up, he scored a lot of goals, a lot of assists. He was probably, like Barry says there, he was the difference maker on that team. The one player with the X factor, the one player could get you off your seat and go and eliminate defenders. And at the minute, I don't think Rangers have that, aside from Gassama in spells. It's not... Gassama's not getting the ball every single time and giving you a consistent game week after week. Apart from that, I don't think Rangers have that. And the way that they're playing currently, they are needing players who can go and eliminate players.
It makes a good point. See, his first 2 months when he came for Wolfsburg, he struggled a wee bit. In and out the team, he wasn't firing. But that showed me he had a bit of personality about him. And then he became a real important player, strong player for Rangers. And as I said, you need these guys in the final third who can come up with that bit of magic. I call them difference makers. They're the ones that can go and win you a game when it's a tight game or you're not playing well. And he was certainly one of their players.
So to win the title, Rangers need 4, maybe 5 quality players.
Yep, guys who come straight into the starting 11. I don't think there's any need to sign squad players. Guys that are going to come in and hit the ground running straight into the starting lineup.
Let's hear Derek McInnes again after the game last night about the size of the task ahead.
Yeah, that was the job when I came in to do. You know, it was Rangers finishing third last season. What was served up last year wasn't good enough, and we've come in to try and you get a job for a reason. You get a job to try and make things better, and obviously sometimes you get it because things aren't quite right. So, and we have to try and get things moving the right way quickly. There's no two ways about it. We should be winning this game. I think Jagiellony are a decent team, and I think they've got some good players, and I think they're well coached. But Rangers at their best, Rangers as strong as they can be, should be winning this tie. And we have got work to do between now and the end of the window, but between now and Sunday to get ready to win a cup tie against them.
And that's the thing, it's relentless, Barry, isn't it? You've been in the dugout at Rangers. As a manager, it's non-stop, especially during transfer window time.
3 games a week, you need to be able to handle those situations. It's always been like that, Paul, so it's not a surprise to anybody. Disappointing last night, I'll go back to it, but the beauty of it, you've got a game 3 days later at home.
How was the atmosphere in the ground last night?
Obviously, after it wasn't nice. They're disappointed, the fans, because they pay big money and a lot of money to go and turn up and expect their team to put a performance on. But the most important thing is win and make sure they get into the next qualifying round. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. No excuses. Jagiellonia deserved to get through. And now you need to go and face the music. Take a bit of stick, a bit of criticism. You've got to be able to handle that. And as I said, Sunday's a big one for Rangers. There's no doubt about that.
But what I don't think you need is a revisit of the Russell Martin days when it can build and build and build, and the longer you don't win by winning,
Yep. The only way you can stop that, Aiden, is winning.
But the noise grows louder and louder and louder by each game that passes. When
That's
there's no
what I would
win.
be saying in the dressing room as a player. I'd be like, listen, we don't want this to continue. We need to do something about it. It's not just the manager and the coaching staff. The players need to have a wee chat amongst each other.
The leadership group, whoever they are.
I'm not keen on leadership groups.
I
look at everybody in the dressing room. Look, you've got some leaders, you've got some that are quiet. I know people say there's a leadership group. No, everybody's the same. They're not about the same, but everybody's got to take responsibility.
Big task then for the Capitano, for Lon Shankland, to be captain of the club.
He is the one leader, but also you've got a number of leaders within that dressing room. Not just on one player.
Then just on Shankland though, because he's been given, the captaincy, Rangers fan, and obviously it's not got off to an amazing start for him. Do you think then he's never been in this position before? Do you think as this grows, you'll start to see him shrink a little bit?
That's when people need to.
You would hope not. But
well, listen, it's a good point you make. He's not been used to this level. Kind of criticism and obviously the spotlight's continually on you as a captain and also being at Rangers. Do I think he can handle it? I do. I spoke to him briefly again yesterday before the game. He was quiet, but you could see this daily determination about him. He got his goal last night, but I still think there's more to come. But I just think he's starved a bit of service. And I think people run about him. I think keep him centrally. Keep him in the areas where he's most dangerous. What I don't want him is falling away deep into the midfield. And I know he's quite good at that and he can handle it. I want to see him further up the pitch. And then when the balls are wide, people are giving them service. And I don't think he's got enough service.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Obviously, Chermiti is not going to be around for quite a long time.
I think it's another area, Paul, that they need to strengthen.
Of course. What about this? The £7.5 million target, the Portland Timbers player Kevin Kelsey from the MLS.
I seen that. That was new today. To be honest with you, I'd be lying if I said he's a good player. I don't know too much about him. Ask me again on Friday.
Okay. Aidan, have you come up against him?
Monday.
Kevin Kelsey, have you heard of him?
No, I haven't. No.
So it's he's apparently,
and it sounds like quite a high fee for someone from MLS as well. So
as we go deeper into the window, Stevie, thank you so much for your call. 0808 17 17 700.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Team news will be in any time now, I would think. In fact, it should drop very, very shortly for the game tonight. Kelly against Ayr United. That must be, Barry, close to a full house there at Kilmarnock. Because if there's 3,000 Ayr United fans...
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, 3,000 Ayr United fans. Yeah, you would hazard, I guess, it's going to be close to a full house. When was the last derby? I don't know.
Well, it's a while anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a while ago, aye.
Yeah. Andy Walker scored in one a long time ago.
How good was it?
It was not going that long ago.
All right.
Maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Could well be.
Because we're in the same league for a bit as well, remember?
That's right. In the championship.
Yeah.
What was that? 3 years ago then?
So it should be some game tonight.
I'll tell you something. How good was it seeing Rugby Park with a grass pitch?
Bowling Green.
Did you ever have to play in the Astro?
No.
It's just totally different game of football, and it's a different sport. You got Rugby Park when it was actually grass, and I'm not saying it was always good, but at least you understand grass is better than Astro.
I've always said that artificial grass for top level football, I'm not having it. I understand lower leagues, they've got to go with it because obviously they can make a bit of money with hiring it out, but if you're playing Premier League football, it's got to be grass.
No, for sure.
But even the top level clubs, they talk about finances, and look, we can make extra money off of renting it out at night. But see, before they got the Astro pitches in, every team survived. No problem. Yeah. Okay, the pitches weren't perfect, but for me, it was more to do with finances.
What was your favourite pitch to play on, apart from Celtic Park?
As in good pitch?
Yeah.
One that just sticks to mind that was always amazing was the Emirates. I thought that the Emirates was like, it's never ever been bad. Is
that right? Is that
never.
Anytime, March.
I finished it's too good. That was our excuse because we used to beat there, as everybody does. But the Emirates for me, yeah.
Barry?
Oh, that's a good question. That was always a good pitch.
Old Trafford was always good as well.
Old Trafford was good.
Yeah.
Wembley. Played a couple of cup finals at Wembley. That was always like a bowling green. Up here.
Crown Point for Stevie there.
Do you know what was the worst pitch?
I've played at Crown
Fir
Point.
Park.
Have you played there?
Crown Point? Aye.
Fir Park. The old Fir Park.
The new Fir Park's lovely, but I've got to be honest with you, I used to hate going to Fir Park. You walk out the tunnel and that main stand bit was always bare. Horrible.
What about these two tonight? What was the favourite pitch you played? The Emirates maybe, Wembley, Old Trafford.
You said pitch, not stadium,
absolutely.
didn't you? So,
listen, I love it with you two. It's absolutely brilliant to get that insight. Who's going to win the championship? Who do you reckon? Aidan, it's only a few years ago you were playing.
A few years ago I'd have betted against there. Now I'm saying I think he'll look very strong, but I would be saying Partick Thistle, I think. From the way they played so far this season, yeah.
What a start.
It's between three. Partick, Livy and Ayr.
And if pushed?
I watched, was it last week? Partick beat Livingston and they beat them pretty convincingly, if I'm being honest with you. I'm still going to stick with what I said. I'm still going to go Livingston.
Do you want the Kilmarnock team? It has dropped. Strajic, of course, in goals. Brandon, Stanger, Shoning Larson, who scored last weekend, didn't he? Dees, Lowry, Tishbola, Ring, Kilty, who played really well for a period, didn't he? John Jules and Huggle, the striker. So
he's dropped Ifeco from the game at the weekend.
Yep, that's you right up to date. I'll give you the United team. Have you got it yet? Aidan, no, not yet.
No, the United team, no. I'm just listening to you and I'm just seeing who was left out.
Barry, for Kelly, you know them so well. Neil and Billy. Huge game for them tonight as well.
It is. You don't know that. Listen, he's not got off to a great start in the league. I thought they'd done a brilliant job last year when they went in. I thought they were really good to watch. And this season's always going to be tougher. He's lost a few players. Take a wee bit of time to go up and running. But I think Kilmarnock overall, I know you're talking about the game of night, but I think league-wise, I think they'll be fine. Yep.
Look, I think Kilmarnock will be fine, but I think Neil has to kind of maybe play around a little bit with how he's going to play in that formation. I think the week before against St Johnstone, we lost 4-3. They scored 3 but conceded 4. The way that he wants to play, I don't think you can play that way against Celtic with such high fullbacks and a diamond. A diamond for me is a possession-based team. Whenever I played in a diamond and you don't have the ball, it's probably one of the worst formations you can ever play in. But you did see that there were some good things in that game, but it's about how does he coach his players to kind of play that formation, but also not give away so many goals at the back. So We'll see how that pans out in the next couple of weeks. But I think Kilmarnock will be okay. There was enough quality on show going forward that I think they'll be okay.
Gary's on asking who's going to win the English Championship. So he's a Burnley fan. Who's going to win?
West Ham.
Is it going to be West Ham?
I would say West Ham, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Second position, who do you think it's going to be? Wolves, Burnley, Middlesbrough, Southampton. I know they're going to get a points deduction. And the manager will find out. He'll not find out what's going to happen.
But Burnley have got a track record of going down and coming straight back up, don't they? But they've got West Ham in the league now, so and I don't know how strong Wolves will be, considering they're going to lose a lot of players. I'd probably put Burnley second.
Barry second. Gary wants to know.
I'm going to go Wolves.
You just saying that for badness because Gary's one of our team here. Young Gary who goes to every home game with his dad. Isn't that brilliant?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Listen, passionate about his club. Wasn't he too happy last season, was he?
No, he wasn't. I see your brother apparently has been speaking about Lewis. And, you know, all the chat for months. Is he going to come to Rangers? And I've not seen it all, but apparently he made it clear there's no chance. I think this is what he said. The budgets. There's just not the money to do the deal.
No, I mean, he's got 2 years left and I think a year option, and it's Bologna's option. So it's basically 3 years he's got left of a contract. Look, he had I wouldn't say difficult season. He was in and out the team at Bologna last year. Italiano, who was the manager, played a different team in the league, the Europa League. Lewis kind of played more Europa League games, but towards the end of the season, he played more consistently. And then I thought, watching the World Cup Scotland games, where I thought Scotland were really poor, and I'm not just saying it because he's my nephew, I did think he was Scotland's standout player. He played that kind of anchor role in the middle of the pitch where I prefer Lewis further forward, but he showed a different side to his game. I was really impressed by him. And what that does when you have an impressive World Cup, albeit Scotland were poor, it raises his price. So he looked back to his best, and it's good to see. And I'm sure there's a few players, a few clubs over in Serie A looking at him, the ones in the top end of the bracket.
Is that the problem in terms of finances? Is it Rangers won't be able to afford Bologna's asking price?
Aye. Yep.
Or is it wages? He's asking for too much money.
No, I don't think it would be.
Because they'd be able to pay him anyway.
I don't think it would be salary.
I
think it would be more with the transfer fee.
How much do you think it would be?
What?
Transfer fee?
Well, you need to look round about all different leagues and players at the same age as Lewis. They're going for like 20 million plus.
I would say about round about that mark, to be honest.
25 million. Okay. Who's going to win? If not Celtic, I'm looking at Aiden McGeady here. Who's going to win the League Cup, the Premier Sports Cup?
You brought this out earlier this season, didn't you?
But this
who's going to
win
the League Cup?
Yeah, given that it really
who did you
kicks
say?
off.
If not Celtic.
If not Celtic, yeah.
If not Celtic, I would have said Rangers, but currently, I think Hearts maybe.
Hearts
maybe.
Okay, that was mentioned last night as well.
If not Rangers.
If not Rangers, Barry. I said to him on Monday, Rangers
if
reserves.
Not Rangers, I can't see any two teams that are going to be stronger than Celtic and Rangers. I don't.
If the ball's
listen,
right
I'd seen Hearts both their games against Sturm Graz and Benfica, and I never seen that result coming last week against Dundee United. But fair play to them. No, I can't see him winning.
He looks like he's got them playing well. And I think they could be the ones that, after writing them off after 1 week, they could be the ones that.
Yep. But watching it, then I watched the game up at Victoria as well, and to be fair, they were quite comfortable. I didn't think Aberdeen were any great shakes, and they got the 2 goals the last couple of minutes. If you're asking me who's going to finish third in the league, it's going to be a shootout between Motherwell and Hearts.
Really? Yeah. Aiden, who comes third in the league?
Potentially Rangers.
Really? Yeah.
I'm not just saying that. From what I've seen so far,
we've
Rangers
been getting on actually well.
Yeah,
no, because listen, if Celtic and you flip it around and Celtic are the way Rangers are, then you're saying the same thing. Look, I think Derek has got to get it right very, very quickly. But from what I've seen so far, we could be looking at a third Rangers.
Who would come second if that was the case?
Second, I think
Motherwell?
Motherwell Hearts, I think.
Derek McInnes was asked, how is he going to change things?
I do think quality comes into it, but it's also having the wherewithal to keep doing what you're doing and improve. We said at half time, there's no backslapping. We're winning the game here and we're done what was expected of us, no more. We were expected to win the first half, but we still had more to do to win the tie. And, you know, the game was finally poised. I think Jagiellonian had enough opportunities and enough confidence about them at times. They look like a team that's been together a bit and they're got a good way of playing. So we knew the game still needed our full attention, but we weren't good enough second half. So, but the reason I think is a bit of both of what you said. I think there is an element of we need to show more quality, but we also need to stay on top of the job more. And I think it's a concentration thing as much as anything.
Barry, what will your team be if you were in charge?
See if they sign Penrice.
Yeah.
Which I think will happen is I don't know if
his fitness.
No, I don't know if he's eligible to play or not.
I think they can still do the business just now. Yep.
Right, I've got it.
Okay.
Right. I would change. I'd go to a 4-3-3. I'd actually put an extra midfielder, no an attacking midfielder. I'd play 3 solid midfielders. So I'll go with Pandur, Sterling at right back, Fernandez, McYana, and Penrice if he's available. I'd go Connor Barron, Raskin and Dan Neil, Yakota, Shanklin and Curtis.
Yakota.
I would just put an extra midfield. I just feel we were a bit open and I think you need a bit of discipline in the middle of the pitch. I know Connor Barnes been out the picture, but he's fit. He's been training for a couple of weeks. So that's what I would go with.
Because it looked as though the manager obviously wasn't in the plans.
So one sitter and Nico Raskin and Dan Neil getting up in support and getting about the pitch.
No Nadiri up front. You'd go with Shankland.
Yep.
What do you make of it, Aiden? Barry's
I think
lineup?
it's probably very similar to what I would do if you were asking me for my Rangers 11. The only thing that I'd maybe say is maybe Neil in Corin Barron's place, because I quite like Dan Neil in that position.
Yep.
I know he's not played loads at Rangers so far, but
did you play with him at
I played with
Sunderland?
him at Sunderland, yeah, and that is his position. But he's very front foot. If you pass the ball, can receive the ball on the back foot and pass forward quickly, and he'll break lines. But he also gets about as well. So I would have nothing against you playing him in that advanced position as well. But again, you're saying that the Rangers have anyone who can break up the play
I still think there's more to come for Dan.
No, there definitely is.
He's playing a bit within himself, which, listen, is understandable. But I spoke to him last season. I had a good conversation with him, and I liked what he said, and he came across really well. I just think I want to see a bit more, and I believe there's more in him. I do believe he's more in him, and I think he can get about the pitch, as you says.
He can get about the pitch as much as Connor Barron can, and as much as Cammy Devlin can, and he can, and also he's got a better football brain. But so far, you were saying there's more to come from him. It's sometimes that
I seen him in the Championship, and the reason I watched Sunderland is because my brother went down to play at Sunderland, and me and my dad used to go down to the old Roker Park. And it's a team I always kept an eye on. And see, when I seen him in the Championship, I really liked him.
He's a top player, is high, but he's a very good young player who great mentality, wants to learn, wants to work, takes everything on board, but positive. I love playing with him because if I was playing left wing, he would get the ball out and he would like zip a pass through to me when a lot of other midfielders, it's a wee bit risky, I'll just pass sideways. He would do that. Very good player. He was in the academy and then he started training with the first team, and he kind of almost stayed in the first team. But then there's that argument, is it? I know he's played at a massive club at Sunderland with loads of pressure, but then you're now at a different club where the pressure's even more intense and it's 24/7.
No, I agree. I just think he's playing within himself. I don't think he's showing what he's capable of doing.
Good insight, guys. Have you spoken to him, Aiden, since he came up?
I've messaged him a couple of times back and forth, but especially at the very start when I think I told you there was talk of him signing for Rangers, and I was like, "You're better than this. Come on, wind them up." But was I winding them up? I don't know. I just said because there was a lot of other teams that he was telling me that they were interested in him.
I spoke to him. There the last home game of the season, he came up to obviously see the stadium and whatever. And do you know what? I sat with him and I liked what I heard from him, and I actually thought to myself,
intelligent boy as well. Like, he loves his football, and I think he sees this as like probably the equivalent to Sunderland, because he had all that, because he was the captain at what, 19 captain of Sunderland, 19 in the Championship, and led the team to promotion. Had his detractors, as everything happens in football, had criticism at times, but came through it all. And the only unfortunate thing for him is he was on the bench most in the Prem, and then they let him go in the January. But again, went to Ipswich and they got promoted as well to the Premier League. So he's got the talent, he's got the attributes, but sometimes it's just that settling in a new club and understanding the demands of what the Rangers fans want, what the manager wants.
Great insight, which you can only get in the Go Radio Football Show.
The Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas.
Aiden McGeady is in the house tonight. What a player he was, Barry, wasn't he? You two came up against each other.
Yep, sure did.
I mean,
A
few times.
I don't know how many times I tried to kick him.
Did you get many kicks at him? Could you catch him? Yeah.
You got us a few times with a few scuffles as well.
What did you find? How did you find it playing against him?
No, but listen, Barry was a top player as well. He was, if you go back over the last 20 years, one of Rangers' best ever players. Rangers legend. But when you're on your park, it's totally different.
Of course.
I say about every Celtic team I come up against, you always before the game, always respect them. You've got to respect your opponent. But see, when you cross that white line, you're in it to win it.
Anything goes.
Aye, that's it. And there was a few ding dongs, and he was one of the players that we had to stop, because you would talk before the game, earmark him as a real danger man, and you would have to try and stop him, and you would try and do whatever.
Any means necessary. No?
He was a handful, wasn't he?
But listen, that's the way it was.
Oh, no, I don't mind that either. That was football back then as well. And then
Exactly.
me and you have a wee bit of a set two, and then people get pushed away, and then that's it. But that's football. As soon as
You liked him better than you liked Gordon Strachan.
I was saying that me and Gordon have kind of we've made up. We've made up. We've made up. So
And listen, he won 3 titles out of 4 for Celtic, so that's
yeah. He probably get me to play my best football and stuff. And as you get older, as you'll know,
tough
you
love.
you do slightly mellow, don't you? As well,
100%.
Tough love.
You know what
it?
it's like when you're younger. Listen, everybody makes mistakes and says things, but as you get older, you mellow and you understand, and you become a bit more mature.
Yeah. Who's going to be the new Barry Ferguson for Rangers? Because that's what they need, but that's easier said than done. Here's a Rangers fan on the line. Hi, Paul. Good evening.
Hi guys, how are you doing? You all right?
Good. Where are you calling from?
Coatbridge.
Coatbridge. Right, Paul, what are you thinking? You're through to Aiden and Barry.
How you doing, Paul?
Hi, Paul.
How you doing? Well, firstly, I'd like to say that Rangers have brought everything on themselves with bad decision making over the years, because bringing managers in that you know is not going to be the one for Rangers, i.e. Russell Martin and even Danny Rowe. A lot of people were sceptical about Danny Rowe. They already had the perfect guy in the job at that point in time, and he showed enough in his time there that he could do a job, and that's you, Barry. You showed more than enough qualities to do a job for at least a year anyway, to see how you got on yourself, see if you were enjoying it, and see if you could do the job. You'd have brought in players that understood Rangers, you'd have brought in players that understood the league, and that would have gave them time to build a settled squad. But because they keep bringing no bad managers, but managers that don't suit Rangers, and because of that, they're having to rip it all up every single season, and they're not getting enough time to build in a settled squad.
Sorry, can I just ask Paul a question there? What manager does suit Rangers?
Well, I thought Derek McInnes would be like Barry Ferguson. I thought he'd have brought in players that kind of know the league, that know Rangers, but for some reason,
now he doesn't suit them either.
They're going for players that spending £7 million on players that are playing in the Dutch league. Why not spend that money on Elijah Just? Why not go for? They're going for players, for foreign players that you've never heard of. Why not take a chance and go for big Gogic, who'd put himself in the line, clear a ball, ram into a post to clear the ball off the line.
Would you be impressed with Alex Gogic signing for Rangers, or would you be overjoyed with that? Is that a player you'd really want to see in?
Walter Smith done it. Walter Smith brought in guys like Lee McCulloch, just people that a spine of the team, a core of players that was the spine of your team, and then you build players in about them.
I think with Paul, I do believe that there is players, in the Scottish League that can certainly do a job, but also you need to look out with that as well. I'm not saying you can go to different countries and get players that come in and certainly do a job. I still think there's a bit of an ignorance towards players that are playing in our league, guys who can certainly not just do a job, but could become either good Rangers or Celtic players. But also, I think you've got to look out with Scotland as well. But it's not just a case of signing a good player. I think you've got to go deep into their backgrounds, where they were brought up. Have they been to clubs before that have been under pressure? Go away back to their younger days, coming through the academies or whatever. I think you've got to do a full job on players that you're going to bring into a club. But in terms of players that play in the Scottish League, I do believe, even at this moment in time, there is one or two players that could certainly come in and make their mark for Rangers.
Barry, how do you feel when Paul says that to you?
I'm fine. Listen, I've done a couple of interviews, Paul. Look, I was disappointed at the time I'd never get a job, but listen, that's life. You move on, and at that time, did I think I could have done a job alongside Neil McCann, Dodge and Alan McGrath? Of course I could, but listen, they choose a different route, and I fully back the manager, whatever Rangers bring in. I have no issues with that.
12 months later, they bring in Lawrence Shankland. You would have had him the year before. We're still talking about Václav Černý. I heard them. I was listening to the Beeb, I think, the other night, Radio Sports Sound. They said Josh Mulligan, one of all the players, and we're talking about James Penrise.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know what Aidan thinks. I watched quite a bit of Josh Mulligan the time I was in charge, and I think the best time to judge a player is when you're close up on a touchline. And I really liked him. Really like physical presence, can play centre of the pitch, can play right wing back. I just really liked him, and I thought he was a no-brainer and a free transfer. Obviously, Hibs took that choice to go and get him. I know he had an injury towards the end of the season, but I think he's one that Hibs could make a small fortune off.
So why didn't Rangers listen, Paul? Yeah.
Can I ask, do you think Derek McInnes has a bit of stubbornness about him? Because right now we're struggling for centre-back positions, and Sterling, who very rarely plays more than 2 or 3 games at a time, and they're playing him at centre-back. Why not use John Souttar while he's there? And you've also got Ross McCausland. They're struggling for wide players. He's there at the moment. Why not use him while he's there? And Bojan Miovski, why not give him a chance? I mean, everybody could see last night, and Derry wasn't cutting it last night. Mm-hmm. Why not give Miovski a chance?
He had a chance last night, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a glaring chance. He had a glaring chance towards the end.
2 minutes left.
You can tell, listen, he's been short of football. John Souttar and Ross McCausland, I think it's evident to see that they're no part of the plans, and they'll be moving on, which I'm surprised with. John Souttar signs a new contract a month before the end of the season, and then obviously the manager changes, comes in, and he's out the picture.
Do you think you'll be Rangers manager one day?
Who?
You
can never say that. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
It's the one job that you would go back for, isn't it, in football?
Listen, you're putting me on the spot here. It was a job that I never thought that would come about for me. I loved the 3 month, but again, Paul, I always say, you know what I'm like? You've known me for a long time. Whoever's in charge of Rangers, I want them to be successful, because there's not been enough success at Rangers over the last number of years.
Paul, thanks so much for your call. We've just about run out of time. Aidan, what's the result for Dundee United Celtic tomorrow? What do you reckon?
I reckon 3-1.
3-1. Barry?
I reckon pretty convincing 2-0 Celtic.
And Sunday, Barry, Rangers St Mirren.
Listen, I would take the worst game I've ever watched. 1-0. They just need to win the game. I don't care. Performance is out the window for me. Just make sure you get into the quarterfinals.
Aidan?
1-0 St Mirren.
1-0 St Mirren. Dunfermline against Ross County. Aberdeen against Dundee, of course. Hearts against Inverness. Hibs against Partick Thistle. And Stenhousemuir against the valiant, victorious Motherwell. Killie against Ayr United tonight. That's coming up next. We're back on Monday night. Barry will be here along with Charlie Mulgrew. Have a great weekend.